So I guess between the two of us, let's just kind of bounce this around a little. The the idea, we won't even get into like the is email dead, all that mumbo jumbo, because we all know it isn't, and if you're watching this, you know it isn't too, because you know it's important to your business. But how does a brand? What are some, I guess, techniques that we can use as a company to have that human voice? And I guess how important really, how important is it, especially for your newsletter?
Yeah, I mean, so I should mention too, with the Social Butterfly guy, I do so this will be tomorrow. I do what I call my weekly Waldo Was Updates, which is a more personal human newsletter. So that will give you a lot of things we're going to talk about today. I try to showcase. I mean, I just like anybody else, I try to practice what I preach for the most part. But I think for the most part, it's tricky because depends on what your business is. You're ultimately sending people a newsletter because you want them to either buy something, buy a product, or buy a service, or you want them to sign up for potentially a Google Hangout, or you want them to download a white paper, or subscribe to your email newsletter. I mean, you're doing all these things because you want your audience to take some sort of action. What I tell people all the time is think about the emails that you get excited about opening. And the sad reality, I think, is they're far and few between. I mean, even as an email marketing guy, I just went in yesterday and unsubscribed from a dozen newsletters because, frankly, most of them are crappy. And most of them are just in your face trying to sell you this, this, and this, and especially around the holidays. And, I feel really strongly if you add some of that human touch to an email, one, it makes it stand out among the crowd, and two, it puts a smile on somebody's face. And, I'm more likely to do business with somebody that I'm excited about doing business with versus a boring, static type newsletter. A great example, recently I just got my new business cards for Coach DJ, and I use a company called Moo. I'm not sure if people are familiar with Moo, but you can design business cards. I even have these square business cards I design, and I got an email from them confirming my order, and it came from the Moo robot. And at first I kind of looked, maybe do a double take, and you don't expect. I mean, they basically made fun of the fact that they were sending you an autoresponder. They knew they were sending you an autoresponder. I knew it. Everybody knows that's what you get after you get an order confirmation, but it was a little bit more human. And they talked about the robot taking your order and doing something with it, and then they did a follow-up, and they even followed up with a survey. And I don't know about you all, but I rarely fill out surveys. Rarely, mostly because they end up being, they say just a few minutes of your time, and the survey ends up taking 15 minutes. But this one from the Moo robot, it was a 3-question survey, and I was actually excited about doing it.
Did they tell you it was going to be 3 questions, or did they set that expectation up front?
That's a good question. They didn't do that, which I think would have been the next step to say, this is going to take you 30 seconds, or this is going to be 3 questions, or whatever but they didn't do that. But I got to tell you, I think I was so bought into the Moo robot already that it didn't matter. I think that would have been, kind of a one-up there for sure.